Welcome to Focus on Why, the podcast where reflection sparks action. I'm Amy Rowlandson, and together we'll explore compelling stories, profound insights, and transformative experiences from inspiring guests worldwide. Feeling lost or unfulfilled? Searching for clarity, purpose, or meaning in your work and life? This podcast invites you on a journey of self-discovery to align your work with your values, shape your future with intention, and create a purposeful way of life. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. Before we start, have you signed up to receive my weekly email newsletter, Friday Focus? Every Friday, I focus on one topic with one action arising. The link to sign up is in the show notes. Today on Focus on Why, I am joined by Joel Salomon. Joel, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Amy. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, we also have a thank you to Shelley Starks for introducing us. So thank you so much, Shelley. It's been incredible. So here we are, Focus on Why. What is it that you're focusing on at the moment, Joel?
Well, I don't like to say always and never, but I'm always focused on helping others become financially free. And I'm doing this as a prosperity coach to teach people the truth about money. And my mission is to help at least 100,000 people become financially free. And so for me, it's how can I do that for you? What is your biggest money challenge? For some people, it may be investing. For some people, it may be their business. For some people, it may be retaining the money that they generate. And so I am agnostic how I can help you. I have new programs all the time that I've created. I created a new program this past week for stock investors. And if you're not a stock investor, I'll teach you other things. If you want help in your business, I have a Money Miracles membership, which is a group coaching program. And I asked my members last week, 2 weeks ago, what's your biggest challenge in your business? What's stopping you from becoming prosperous and helping even more people because they're doing their purpose, they're doing their why. And I want to help them help others. And I believe if you're not prosperous, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you're barely surviving, you're struggling, then you're probably not reaching the numbers of people that you could be helping. Because what's the saying? You can't serve others if you can't eat. Right? So how can I help them serve others better, more people in a more prosperous way? Sometimes it's lead generation, sometimes it's sales, sometimes it's marketing, sometimes it's money mindset. And so let me help you create some systems, create some changes in your mindset. And even with the stock investing that I mentioned, the first step for everyone that I work with is, what's your belief? What are your thoughts around investing? In fact, on my call this week, a woman said to me, I have an extra 25,000 US dollars to invest, but I'm scared. I'm fearful about the stock market. What should I do? And the first step is for me to work with you to see if I can change that fear. Because if I can't, and you're just believing that things are terrible and you're not going to make money in the market, then you're not. So I can teach a process which generally works, but it won't work for that person who is like, oh my God, things are really terrible out there. Like something's going to collapse any second now. So, and if that's your belief, I'm not going to tell you to invest in the stock market if you believe that the stock market is about to crash.
So what I'm hearing, Joel, is there's purpose, which is at the foundation of the work that people do. But actually, you go in below that, even lower foundation level. But because without this level of security and ability to step forward without any concerns financially, they're actually distracted and can't deliver on their purpose.
Correct.
So how did you fall into this, or was it not falling into, was it very much by design?
It was very much by design. I was doing my dream job. You'd asked me 30 years ago, what's your dream? I would have said managing other people's money. Of course, I was working as an actuary at an insurance company, but I had the dream, I had the vision, and I believed, despite the doubts that everyone gave me, that I could achieve the dream. And I did in 2008. I worked for Citigroup here in the States. Ultimately, the portfolio, the hedge fund that I managed for them, started at 300 million US dollars and grew to 700 million. We were all laid off because of a law that was passed that said banks can't own hedge funds. I started my own hedge fund. And I was doing that, living my dream, when I went to a personal development course almost 10 years ago. And at that course, two things happened. One, we had a guest speaker speaking for 1 hour. It was a 3-day course. And this guest speaker spoke for 1 hour about stocks and stock options. And when he spoke about stock options in particular, he made it sound easy. He said, you don't need much time, you don't need much money. This is how the rich people get rich, and options are essentially risk-free. And I was sick to my stomach. I had people tapping me on the shoulder, whispering, Joel, does this make sense? Are options really riskless? So after he was done, we went out of the auditorium. 200 people he was been speaking to. A few people were asking me. So we went out and I said, please don't do this. He has no idea about any of you individually, and most importantly, no idea about your belief that you could become rich using options. Now, the second thing that happened at the personal development course was we were given a wooden board 2 inches thick, and we were told going to break it with our bare hand. Have you done it?
I have not.
So here's half of the board. So on one side of the board, we had our biggest obstacle. And then the other side, our ultimate goal. So this is half of my ultimate goal: make everyone here financially free. You see, I broke the board like everyone else did, broke through, went home that night, I couldn't sleep. First, the guy was in my head, and I realized if I could ever get up the courage to speak on a stage, my biggest fear that day was public speaking, I could be authentic, tell people the truth about money and not lie to them. And the second thing going on in my head was that this wooden board staring back at me: make everyone here financially free. I think it hit me at 4:30. I jumped out of bed. I quickly got dressed. I was at my office in Midtown Manhattan before the sun rose, and I sent an email to my investors telling them I'm giving them their money back. I'm shutting down my fund. I figured out my true purpose in life.
That sounds very much like a Tom Cruise film where he says, right, that's it, I'm done, I'm off, and I'm going to start living this life where I'm being more honest and true to what I really care about. So that was the catalyst for you, this particular talk that you went to, that you realized the power of disinformation and how people are being preyed upon in such a way that, yes, they are looking for the short route. They're looking for a quick fix. So what happened next?
Well, I sent an email to my investors, and I was done in my head. And it took a year legally to shut down entities and, sell the stocks and strike the final net asset value. But I'd say by the end of the next year, I was doing things kind of ad hoc, like teaching people one-off for an hour about money and prosperity. And at the end of 2016, I went to another personal development course by Mike Dooley, and which was a synchronicity. A woman in my network told me that I really should go. She think I'd get a lot of benefit out of this. And it happened to be an hour from my house. I was just divorced, so I didn't want to not see my kids. It happened to be on a weekend that I didn't have my kids. And I met Mike, and there were synchronicities there. He started his career as an accountant. I started my career as an actuary. I'm sure, Amy, you know the difference between an actuary and an accountant. An actuary looks at his feet when he talks to you. An accountant looks at your feet when they talk to you. They say an accountant is an actuary with charisma. Anyway, we had a lot of things in common, including he was in The Secret. The Secret changed my life. And his signature words are thoughts become things. And the signature for my email while I was a hedge fund manager was thoughts are things, from my favorite book, Think and Grow Rich. So there's a lot of synchronicities there. Anyway, I became a certified infinite possibilities trainer to teach the core concepts of infinite possibilities. And I infused that into all my teachings about prosperity. And that the key concepts in infinite possibilities are thoughts become things, beliefs, how to shift limiting beliefs to empowering beliefs, how important it is to take action, have faith in the magical universe, and how your emotions can really impact how you're dealing with your life. And then, of course, the meaning of life. So I infused that into everything I teach. I got certified to do that. And that really helped my business dramatically, because a lot of the people who are in his network are really perfect clients for me, because they understand what I'm doing. They're spiritual, and they need help with the money side of things.
And I'm wondering, that first seminar that you went to, Joel, where he was talking about these particular investments being riskless. Hearing you speak and you bringing all of these elements together, the infinite possibilities, the faith in the universe, the thoughts become things, and the meaning of life, what I'm hearing here is a confidence in you being able to deliver on a promise. And I'm wondering whether, much as what that previous personal development person was saying, again, because he had such confidence in his own ability, again, that was what was creating this success for him. And he thought that that was also possible for others. But if you don't have that, because you were talking earlier about the fear, if you don't have the confidence, you're not able to do what you need to do.
Correct. And what I say to people, what I said to people in that room was, look, he got your belief level up to 10 because he believed it personally. Like, I don't think he was purposely creating subterfuge for these people. He believed it in his heart because he probably had made the money in options. And what I tell people is, yes, like, you could, out of 200 people, maybe 5 or 10 were going to become rich using options, but there's a huge number of ways to become rich and prosperous. And it could be real estate, it could be stocks, it could be options, it could be crypto, it could be your business, it could be a YouTube monetization program, it could be, there's hundreds and hundreds. It could be writing an awesome book and becoming a bestseller and selling 1 million books. Focus on why, right? I mean, why not? It could be any of these things. So it could be an online course. So to say, like, this is the way, that's what hurt my heart, because I know that everyone's an individual and everyone has the ability to become rich, but it's their personal path, and I instill in them empowering beliefs so that they know they came here to thrive, and they know that just because somebody's standing up on stage saying this is the way, it doesn't have to be the way for them. And figuring out the way for them is what's critical. And then the prosperity will flow.
And this word prosperity, it's come up a few times now. And I'm going to make an assumption that a prosperity coach is a formal accreditation to something. Is that right?
It is not.
There we go. Brilliant. I love the fact that I asked the question, just because if I think that, then maybe someone who's listening also thinks that. So this is your description. Is that right? I love
Correct.
it. Brilliant. And prosperity meaning flourishing financially. And I love the word flourishing because I use a word eudaimonia, which is the Greek philosopher Aristotle, who very much believed in flourishing and the pursuit of what's worthwhile in life and essential to thriving. And those words have been part of this conversation, the thriving. And then there's also another element, which is euthymia, which is the having the clarity to choose the purposeful desire path and trusting and believing that it's the right one for you to flourish in its pursuit. So what I'm hearing from you is this lovely alignment of both of these elements in understanding that you're choosing your own path, your own authentic path that's right for you, and that it is very much a case of you need to bring awareness and knowledge to the situation, and that's what you help people to do.
Correct.
So tell me how you came up with this wonderful title of prosperity coach.
It's a great question. I remember when I was just going out there in 2016 and coaching people for an hour or at a time, ad hoc. And I was helping this one guy who was a really excellent marketer. And I think at the time I was calling myself a money coach, or probably a money coach. And he said, you're not just doing money, right? You're teaching more of a mindset as well. You're a finance expert, but you're also teaching mindset. I think it's, prosperity coach sounds more broad and more in alignment with what you're teaching. And I said, I love this. And it's funny, I sat next to a woman at a conference a few years ago, and she gave me her business card and it said prosperity coach. And I said, what do you do? And she said, I help businesses with their business strategy. I said, oh, okay. Well, that's completely different from what I do. Interesting. And she's the only one I've been on a lot of summits. I speak in a lot of different places on podcasts and so on. That's the only person I've met who calls herself a prosperity coach, although she's doing something completely different. And I don't know that there's too many people who are finance experts and teaching the mindset piece as well. There's a lot of mindset coaches, money mindset coaches, and financial planners, financial advisors are teaching finance and the theory and all that. But I don't know, and they're not really teaching mindset. But I infuse both, because I think without the strong foundational principles that come with the money mindset, you're going to be selling when you should be buying and buying when you should be selling.
Yeah, I love it. And I became very aware of my financial literacy back in 2016 when I really started to look into an alternative route for us as a family, because my husband was struggling with his mental health and his physical health in his job. And so I knew we had to look for something else. And then I became aware of different options and things. And I really took a lot of time to become more financially literate. And I'm so glad I did, because it was one of the best investments alongside the personal development journey. I don't think that it's possible to do one of those alone. I think it is something to be done in combination. One of the books that I picked up. You mentioned already Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, which is a great book. There's also, I love The Millionaire Next Door. I don't know if you've read that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit outdated in some of the stories, but the principles remain the same. So tell me, who else has inspired you? You've mentioned The Secret, you've mentioned Think and Grow Rich. What other inspirations have you had
So,
on your
so
journey?
Mike Dooley is definitely an inspiration, and he writes a daily email called Note from the Universe that goes out to 1.6 million people globally. And he is a motivational speaker, best-selling New York Times best-selling author of the book Infinite Possibilities. And he's impacted, and his programs, just the how he's impacted people, and then the Infinite Possibilities trainers have impacted people. The Infinite Possibilities program is taught to kids. There's a I Believe in Me by Rebecca Sagoda. She converted the adult program to a kids program, and there's thousands and thousands of kids around the globe that are learning and have learned the key concepts of infinite possibilities. And it just continues to grow. So that, I really admire the fact that he has this core concepts that has just blossomed. There's about 3,500 certified infinite possibilities trainers. And then if you teach it to at least 6 people for at least 6 hours, you're called a trailblazer. And there's about 600-700 trailblazers around the globe. But some people have taught, there's a woman I know who teaches it in prisons, and she's taught thousands of incarcerated people. And there's a guy who lives in Dubai who teaches in India, who's taught thousands of people the core concepts. So that's an inspiration. And also Mike has been on stages in front of 10, 20, 30,000 people around the globe teaching these core concepts. And I truly believe that your impact is way beyond just the person. Like, we're talking to each other, but who knows who is listening to this and how we're impacting their thought processes. And maybe they go out and impact 20 or 50 or 100 people, and those 100 people impact another 500 people, and so on. And so it's just this spiral effect of, you just don't know how you're impacting other people by uplifting them, teaching them empowering beliefs, teaching them how their thoughts can change their life, how their beliefs can change their life, how their emotions are powerful, and of course taking action on all those things to be inspired to uplift and be a light for others.
And it's so true, because the combination of reflection with action, which is what I talk about, the reflection is where the why comes, where you have that opportunity to understand what the emotional significance is behind the work that you're focusing on. And then the purpose is seen through the action that you take subsequent to that reflection. And that combination is so powerful. You mentioned there about your thoughts and your beliefs and the combination with taking it into motion. It's about understanding that, yes, you can believe one thing, but you can also challenge and believe something else when you recognize that actually it's an old story that's no longer serving you. And what I wanted to ask you is, these infinite possibilities that you're talking about, and the ripple effects that, yes, our conversation can instigate an action, and then somebody may say, oh, you must listen to this podcast. They may never come back to us and say, thank you. I don't need that to know that it will happen, because we've just planted a seed. Those infinite possibilities, how do you stay focused when there are so many possibilities that you could be looking at?
It's a great question. I go back to feelings. And how is what I'm doing feeling for me? Is it lighting me up? Is it, there's the whole emotional guidance scale that Abraham talks about, Abraham Hicks. And so, at the very high level is joy, gratitude, appreciation, love, happiness, passion. And so how am I feeling when I'm doing something? And is it really lighting me up? Would I like to do this like for fun? When I was working as an actuary, I was spending my evenings and weekends analyzing stocks. No one was paying me. It was just fun for me. It lit me up. It's something that I enjoy doing. It was like finding the needle in the haystack, finding the great idea. And then I had this epiphany. What if I could align my hobby and my career? So I will challenge people out there who are watching and listening. What are your hobbies that light you up, that make you happy, that's really fun for you? And how can you align a hobby and a career so that you're enjoying it? Because if you're vibrating up here in joy and appreciation, gratitude, I truly believe that you're going to become more prosperous, you're having more fun, and you're inspiring more people as well. So that for me there's so many ways to go, but okay, what's lighting me up the most? What's raising my vibration the most? I tell my members of my Money Miracles membership on Tuesdays, we get off the call, I'm vibrating like I'm high. So I'm just, on a natural high. And it's because we're supporting each other in a community aspect. We're changing each other's lives for the good. And it just makes me joyous. It makes me grateful that I have the opportunity, and the people who have decided to come into my community, and I'm helping them and they ask me questions. But I also have the other members support the question or by responding to that question as well. So it's not just me, but it's everyone supporting. So I love those calls, that group coaching call. And of course I've heard from members that they love it too, because they're in a completely different place than they were when they came into the membership. And the results speak for themselves. I would say the Money Miracles membership members have manifested over 2,400,000 US dollars.
I can't move forward to the next question, Joel, without just saying, how can you have your Money Miracles calls on a Tuesday? Surely they've got to be on Monday mornings. They've got to be on Monday morning Money Miracle members. It's so much more fun. I'm just kidding. But maybe the universe will manifest more on a Monday. Who knows? But no, it was just a curious thing to have it on a Tuesday. I'm all about the alliteration. But going back to the emotional guidance that you lean on and that intuitive way to understand what is feeling right for you, the metrics that historically have been used in success are more tangible, and I'm very much around creating meaningful metrics in my world, and I know that it sounds like the same for you. What shift has that been for you to move into that space of how you're feeling as opposed to the more traditional set of ways?
Yeah, it's huge. It's, rule number 2 in the 9 money rules millionaires use is trust your intuition. And I found while I was managing large amounts of money that if I didn't trust my intuition, trust my gut, trust my feelings, that I either lost money or made less money than if I had. And so it's tangible in that regard and then I started documenting my intuitive hits on stocks. And if I had taken action on all of them, what would have happened? And so for me, that's where the tangible meets the intangible, right? And so before we got on, we were talking about synchronicities and signs. I talked about it in the 9 Money Rules, so it's not a secret. I see stock symbols and license plates. And it doesn't mean, for me, it doesn't mean, oh, go out and buy it. It means the universe is like giving me a little nudge, right? Just give me the elbow, like take a look here. And then I'm, doing the tangible analysis to determine if this is a stock that's going to go up or down. But I first get the nudge. And so being open to those nudges is really important. And I will tell you, I believe that most people on this earth are not looking for the signs. I look for a sign every single day. In fact, I do a meditation, Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation. And at the end of the series of meditations, it says something like, if I connected with consciousness during these series of meditations, show me a sign that I did so that I am inspired to do this again tomorrow. And I'm open to it and I'm looking for it. And so it happens. And I believe that most people aren't looking for them, aren't open to them. And if they were, they'd see the magic that's
And
all around them.
I agree with you. And this looking for signs, the reticular activating system, which alerts you to what matters, to what you're focusing on, works when it knows what to look for. It knows what to filter out and what to show you, because everything is available all the time, but you're not able to take on board all of the information at the time. So it filters out what it thinks is relevant, and it's not a perfect system. But if you let it know what you're looking for, then it can show you those nudges and those signs. But again, you said most people aren't looking for them or open to them. Some people don't know what it is they want to be open to.
True.
So you've been very clear on this journey that this is what I want. The Jerry Maguire mission. This is what I want. I'm off. I'm here. Here it is. This is what's happening. What's next for you, Joel? Where are you heading?
I am going to be doing more speaking. I just signed up for a speaker coaching program so I can get on more stages and impact more people, because I tell my clients who are entrepreneurs to get more visible, because by hiding, you're not serving the people that need your help. And I know that, this woman who's in charge of Infinite Possibilities Training, Regina Garapi, says visibility equals vulnerability. And for me, I didn't mention this. I kind of mentioned it. My biggest fear was public speaking, 10 years ago. And so I'm still pushing myself to get out there, even though it's still nerve-wracking and so on, because I know there are people out there that need my help that aren't finding me and could really use my help. And so by getting on more stages and teaching people the truth about money, like we did today, there'll be less scams. There'll be less people that will be, fooled by the guy up on stage saying there's only one way to get rich, right? And so I know I need to, for my own soul's purpose, get out there and do more speaking on stages so that I can help more people. And so that's the goal for the next 12, 18, 24, 36 months.
And you mentioned that your mission was to help 100,000 people. Where are you
At
on
least.
Yeah, absolutely. At least. Where are you on that? Do you know how many you've reached so far?
It's a good question. I can't know, because I don't know who reads a book and then puts it into action. I've written 3 books, working on the 4th. So I know who I've helped directly become financially free through my one-on-one coaching or my group coaching. but somebody could buy an online course that I have on my website, salomon.com. By the way, my company name is named after my daughters, Lauren and Morgan. So Leur for Lauren, Mor for Morgan. Somebody could buy an online course and put stuff into action and become financially free. And so I don't know for sure. I do know I'm not there yet. And so I want to help more people.
So when you do know that you have got that number, you know that there's going to be a whole lot more. So that is a great goal to have in terms of when I know it, then maybe there'll be a shift into what comes next, or maybe there's an evolution because as purpose constantly evolves. But the requirement right now to help people who absolutely need to understand more about how they can be more literate around their financial investments, because then absolutely it opens a door to their purpose, their why. But that thing that you just mentioned in terms of if you're hiding, you're not serving is so true. The ability to step into your purpose, to understand who you're helping is so key, to let go of your own inhibitions and what's creating your own obstacles, because we are the worst obstacle we're always getting in our own way.
Absolutely. I will tell you, 2 years ago, I was posting every single day on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And for whatever reason, I stopped after a year. And I know I need to get out there more because more people, I see it every day. I interact with people every day. People, by the way, I give 30 minutes free to the world. So if anybody's watching or listening who's struggling, just jump on a call with me. No obligation to do anything else. And hopefully you'll get some shift in those 30 minutes. Anyway, so I was much more visible a few years ago, and I know I need to be more visible again so that I can talk with more of these people and shift these people who are truly struggling, because they're looking at the physical reality and seeing chaos and lowering their vibration. And when you're down here in fear and worry, that low vibration is far away from abundance and prosperity. And you could argue about, conspiracy theory and all that, but I don't read the news. I don't watch TV news. I don't listen to the radio. And I have a higher vibration, I believe, than most people. So I love to raise people's vibration and frequency. But it's really important to know yourself that if you're vibrating down here, like the goal would be to get a little bit higher in your vibration. If you're feeling fearful or worried, let's get angry. If you're feeling angry, let's get to doubt. If you're feeling doubt, let's get to hopeful. If you're feeling hopeful, let's get to grateful and appreciative and joyous.
Yeah, the understanding what you can and what you can't control is the first step in my framework, because when you really let go of everything that's outside of your realm, then you are able to focus on what you can do and how you respond to what is happening, to events externally. That's in your control. You can't change the events, some of them, but you can absolutely do that. But to then link your feelings and emotions, your beliefs around what you can't control takes you into a whole different space where you can't live with purpose. So I hear you. Thank you for sharing that you're available for a 30-minute call. That's great. We'll put that link in the show notes. How would people best reach you, Joel? What's the favorite ways for you to get in contact?
So go on to salomon.com. There's a ton of free stuff there too, by the way. There's manifestation techniques, there's affirmations, there's even some investing stuff on there. And just if you go to the homepage and scroll down about halfway, you'll find sign up for your free prosperity coaching call.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. And again, thank you to Shelley for the introduction. Thank you, Joel, for coming on the show and sharing why you're doing what you're doing and a little bit behind the understanding just how powerful it is to really dive into the foundations of being financially free. It's a journey that I advocate, and I absolutely agree with you. There are many ways. There's not the way. There is a way that is suitable for lots of people. In fact, there are many ways that are suitable for people. But as you said, standing on a stage and saying this is the way is not our style. It is a way, and we're happy for there to be others. But that's for purpose. That's for finance. Everything. Thank you, Joel. It's been a real joy hearing you share your story. Do you have some final words, please, for the listeners?
Sure. I think most important is #doubt the doubt. On your journey, there's going to be doubts. Don't believe them. Doubt them. Believe in the dream. Don't believe in the doubt. And you'll achieve the dream.
This episode's over, but let's keep the conversation going. How has this episode impacted you? Share your insights, takeaways, and reflections with actions on social media, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback creates powerful ripple effects, helping others to discover its value. Want to dive deeper into purpose? Check the show notes for links on how to work with me, where to buy my new book, Focus on Why, Create a Purposeful Way of Life, available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook, and where to sign up for Friday Focus, my weekly newsletter. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.